What if I told you the most expensive piece of furniture in your medical practice isn't the MRI machine? It's not the ultrasound equipment or the physician's exam table. Actually, it's the chair sitting in your waiting room, because every single day, patients walk out of your office having sat in that very chair, owed you money, and nobody asked them to pay. And that one conversation, or rather, the conversation that never happened, may be costing your practice hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. So let me tell you about a particular Tuesday. Not the busiest day of the year, just an ordinary Tuesday. 43 patients came in the door of your family medical practice. Most had insurance. Most owed something, maybe a $30 copay, a deductible, or coinsurance, or an outstanding balance from a previous visit. Throughout the day, the front desk staff was very friendly, professional, and patients generally loved them. But at the end of the day, the practice collected $4,300. Sounds pretty good. Until someone looked at the numbers, and much to their dismay, they should have collected $9,800. So nearly $5,600 walked right out the front door. Now here's the interesting part. Insurance didn't deny those claims. There was no coding errors or billing errors. Nothing was rejected. Patients weren't even refusing to pay. The money wasn't lost because something went wrong. The money left because nobody asked. Some patients were handed paperwork. Some were told, "We'll just send you a bill." Others weren't told anything at all. The conversation simply never happened. Now multiply that one Tuesday by 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year, and suddenly you're no longer talking about a few $1,000s. You're talking about hundreds of $1,000s, maybe even over $1 million. Walking right out the front door, not because of bad billing, not because of insurance, but because of 60 uncomfortable seconds at the front desk. Here's what surprised me most after working with medical practices around the country. The biggest collection problem isn't a billing problem, it's a confidence problem. Most front desk employees were never actually taught how to collect money. They learned by watching someone else, who learned by watching someone else, who also never received formal training. Think about that. We expect receptionists to collect thousands of dollars every day, yet we rarely teach them how to have the conversation. Many receptionists think asking for payment feels awkward or rude or sometimes pushy. They think, what if the patient gets upset? What if they think I'm being insensitive? Those are real concerns. But here's the truth. Patients don't usually get frustrated because you ask them to pay. They get frustrated when nobody told them they owed money. Until 6 weeks later, when the bill shows up unexpectedly in the mail. That surprise causes far more frustration than an honest conversation ever will. Imagine checking out after buying groceries and the cashier says, "Don't worry about paying today. We'll just mail you a bill in a month or so." That would feel strange. Healthcare shouldn't work that way either. Patients deserve to know before they leave what they owe and why they owe it, and then what their payment options are. That's not being rude. Not at all. In fact, that's being transparent. The reality is, asking for payment professionally is actually a form of customer service. You're helping patients avoid a surprise bill. You're giving them clarity. You're respecting their ability to make the financial decisions. And you're hoping to keep the practice financially healthy. Those things aren't in conflict with one another. They go hand in hand. One of my favorite quotes is, "The barrier to collection is almost never the patient. It's the hesitation of the person asking." Think about that. The barrier isn't usually the balance, it's confidence. And confidence can be learned. So here's my challenge to you. Think back at the last time a patient left your office without paying. Why did they leave? Were you unsure of what they owed? Did you feel uncomfortable bringing it up? Were you worried about how they would react? Whatever your answer is, that's the skill that's worth improving, because the money isn't lost, it's simply uncollected. So if you're a front desk receptionist, office manager, biller, or anyone responsible for patient collections, remember this. Collecting patient responsibility isn't just about asking for money. It's about understanding the patient's benefits, explaining the balance clearly, offering appropriate options, and making sure the revenue does not quietly walk out the door. Every copay that is missed, every deductible that is ignored, and every past due balance that never gets discussed may seem small in the moment, but over time, those small missed opportunities can become a very expensive problem for the practice. The strongest front desk teams know how to balance two things at the same time: excellent patient service and financial accountability. You don't have to be aggressive. You don't have to make the patient feel uncomfortable. But you do need to be prepared, consistent, and confident enough to have the conversation. Because the conversation that happens before the patient takes a seat may be one of the most financially important conversations happening in your entire practice. So train your team. Give them the right words. Give them clear policies. Stand by those policies. Give them payment options. And most importantly, give them confidence to ask. If you can improve what happens at the front desk, you can improve what happens throughout the entire revenue cycle. I'll see you in the next lesson.